Tuesday, remember it was 12th. But dates don't matter to me. It's been a while since I've done a midweek video, but it's nice to get out of the house into the garden. Now I did try to do one yesterday. No, sorry, Sunday. Bit of a harvest. It was so bright I couldn't read the screen, so I didn't know if it was recording or not. So I've had to let that one go. I can assure you, everything I picked, bloody lovely, went down well. Now, I'm always on the lookout. Can I improve next year? And you can only do this through the growing season itself. See the mistakes you made or anything you can adjust to tweak it to you, possibly to your liking. And I found a couple of things. Main thing is I found a lot of veg grows brilliant in the polytunnel. Stuff that I'm growing outside, which I'll show you in a minute. Have any concerns this year? Yes. Now I've been mixing my own composts. The coir, coated coir, brilliant. It's a perfect substitute for peat. Now, I did try to add something else. I bought a couple of bags of farmyard manure this year. It's like a soil foam, looks like soil, smells lovely. But one thing I didn't count on, if you put too much in your mix, it sets like concrete. Would I advise anybody buy it? I don't say why not, because if your soil is loose, very loose, and you're growing some like brassicas that need a good firm root hold, this stuff is a brilliant additive, and it also puts feed in the soil at the same time. So I did make a mistake with a couple of my plants. I didn't lose them. I knocked the soil off the root ball, re-amended, made it an easy to drain mixture, come out perfect, so there's no problem there. It could have gone the other way and I could have killed the plants. Now, problems. Yes, my tomatoes. I had two plants in particular this year, serious wilt. I thought, oh no, is it this compost? But I'm growing yard-long green beans in the same pots. Now they grow the same way as I grew them a few years ago. Start off slow, but towards the end of the season had a spurt on, ready to travel up the cane and produced the beans. So I'm not concerned with that. It's just the tomatoes. It seems strange because I try to keep away from green waste compost, which is going to be difficult in the future, I know. But I don't believe that goes hot enough to kill all pathogens and all the nasties off. So I don't know if you can see, but it's a serious case of wilt on the leaf. I don't overwater, and I definitely don't underwater. And when I feed, I water first to make sure the compost hydrated and I'm not wasting the feed. So as to what's causing it, I don't know. But the other problem I have is tomatoes at the back near the skin. It tends to be a little bit too far away for me to reach. So I'm thinking next year it'd be ideal to put all my peppers down the back wall. It's still got the light, and I put my tomatoes along the front. I can still use the taller canes and get 4 trusses. This year one of my major problems is my trusses have been setting too high. I mean, you imagine the first truss about 2.5, 3 foot up. That's too high. Way too high. Next year I'm going back to the way I used to do it. Force the first truss when in the small pots. You force her in the flower. Even if you've got to cut that first truss off, it doesn't make anything. The rest of the trusses follow quick up the stem. So I've got that in mind for next year. This year I decided to do something different with me cucumbers. One either side of the door. Yes, that wants watering. That's going to get done shortly. With the cane run above. So eventually the fruits will hang down over the doorway. I know they're low for a lot of people, but for me ideal. I can wheel right under them. Plus it'll be easier to pick. And I realise there's a fruit there ready for picking. I've already had a couple. It's been a good year for picking cucumbers this year. Both last year and this year, start of the season, I failed miserably with my turnips. This year I decided I'll try and grow some in the polytunnel, and they have been absolutely superb. Lesson learned to me, future reference, I'll be growing them in the polytunnel. Gives us more room, more space in the beds. Which gives me a chance this year to find out what grows best in the beds, what grows best in the pots. And I found onions grow brilliant in pots. So I can stick to me routine up to now. And the cabbage, that is bloody lovely. It's grown superb. So it's just starting to harden up now, and they've only been in about 4 or 5 weeks, if that. I only put 2 in. I wish I put half a dozen in, but I've got more grown. But my number of plants I've got grown on for the rest of the season is cutting down this year because of my lack of seeds, my shortage of seeds. I'm really hanging fire to restock for next spring rather than buy seeds in bits and pieces. I've got enough to keep us going, see the season out. And I've taken this one up for now, Fem Spot. It looks a bit worse for the wear, bit of slug damage on this outer skin. Still perfectly edible. But as the fruit matures further up the plant, it'll be a lot cleaner than this. But this was Fem Spot. I really wanted the half-size ones. Ended up finding a couple of seeds from, I think it was Mini Munch. Yep, started again. So I've got one plant, Mini Munch. And there's absolutely loads of fruit coming on it. I don't know if you can see it further down. There's actually a couple down there. You only see one. But I'm pleased with the way that's grown. Well, back again. It's Wednesday. I had to cut short my video on yesterday, but with the rain it was so heavy It sounded like a team of skeletons playing football in a biscuit tin in here. But what made it worse when it stopped, the music, the locals. I don't mind music, but I'm very against listening to music that abuses women. If anybody that knows music knows what I'm on about. Especially when it's played at full volume. They don't have a radio station license. Anyway, quick recap is I'm quite happy the way things are going on. Cucumbers, it's a special year this year. They're very productive. The tomatoes, I've got my problems with them, which can be solved for next year. Update for next year. I'm always on the lookout for ways of making life easier. Yes, the peppers are going back towards the skin of the polytunnel. Tomatoes needing the most care and attention will be at the front near the pack. And I will be forcing the tomatoes into early flowering by keeping the smaller pots a little bit longer. You know how it is, I think they're dying, so they start flowering, force them. I'm very pleased with the way a lot of plants are growing well, veg-wise, in the bed in the greenhouse. Tomatoes are a must this year, next year for the greenhouse. Did I say tomatoes? Turnips. The age. Yeah, turnips are a must because every time I've tried them outside the beds, for all it's hot in here, you always want to seed out there. Brilliant in here. Brilliant. And the cabbage, well, I couldn't wish for better. I could have wished for more. And the other thing for next year is I'm going to take some advice. I'm going to accept it. Bill and Val. I was on about a month or two back about my staging. I was thinking about having collapsible staging. Now, they suggested why not have it in sections? Perfect. So I can still have a section up. Either leave it up or keep one of these grow tents inside here. Because as at the moment, there's only I bought seeds for greenhouse perennials, half-hearted perennials. They were a mixed bag of seeds from, I forget who they're from. And I'm getting quite a few to germinate. Well, they're a greenhouse plant, so I've kept the grow tent for them. Plus I've got a couple of trays of cactus plants. Well, they need to be in the polytunnel, so it's either keep a staging available, doesn't have to be very big, or keep the grow tent going. The other letdown was I had to spend a couple of days, personal problems, district nurse's advice, bed rest, a couple of days, and in that time my melon seeds, I'd sown two varieties, one Melba and the other one the Minnesota Midget from Val, and all I was left with was two Melba. Slugs, I'm assuming it's slugs, had annihilated the lot. Now the problem is in here, well, the whole garden is inundated with the likes of earwigs, woodlice. The first thing you'll find in your compost heap, woodlice. What do you find under your trays on the stage when you're setting seedlings? Woodlice and earwigs. They also like seedlings. But I've got something in hand for next year. I always like to cover my staging with polystyrene so any cold weather it protects the roots a bit in the pots. Now this is where your problem starts, your insects. So I bought some diatomaceous earth. Apparently they don't like it. I don't know if I had these things when I was younger, but I'm willing to give it a go. Sprinkle some over before the seed trays go on the staging, or even before pricked out seedlings put on the staging, because that's where you really start to notice where they've been ate. So yes, I've got the diatomaceous earth, and this soil fertiliser I got from Scott. I sprayed some of that in the beds a week or so ago. Everything's grown loopy. I'm just looking out, everything's going daft. So it must work. Must work. The only thing I haven't done is put them on the pots in the greenhouse here. I'm going to give that a go. I've got some left mixed in my spray unit. But as ever, like when I feed, I like to water first, make sure everything's totally hydrated, and then that's why I never put the feed in first. It just sinks straight through. You've lost a lot. Rehydrate it, make sure your soil's hydrated, then feed. Instant impact. So I still don't know about these tomatoes yet, because like I said, I've got the yard-long green beans. I'll show you one anyway, just to let you see what I'm on about. Well, now that I've pulled the tomato plant out, or the best part of it, I can see the beans, and they're still growing okay. So it can be the compost. Obviously there's bits of slug damage on some of the foliage, but can't help that. Anyhow, we'll keep going, we'll see how it fares out. Okay guys. Well, that's another batch of compost mixed for use. It's a bag. I'll show you it. Organic compost. Now, I believe that's meant for top dressing on your beds, but when you break into it, lovely stuff. Do you see it? Yeah, it's lovely stuff, that. The only problem is on its own, like the farmyard manure, I think it can set it a little bit too hard for a lot of plants. So back to the compost. So I've mixed it, coir compost 30%, the rest of it, this bag of compost, well, 2/3 of it's made of this, and a good helping of vermiculite. Unfortunately I got the fine grade, I prefer the medium grade. Just make the most of what I've got. I just put a little bit more in, keeps it nice and open, and I don't get any tight compost, and the roots go wild in it, so I'm happy with that. Alright guys, that's about it for another video. Next time we'll probably have a look outside, see how plants are going in deep beds. Now, I'm not finished for today. I've got the hanging baskets out the front of the bungalow, they need deadheading. And one thing to keep in mind, I mean, I've watched the likes of Ronald Shaw start the season microwaving his soil And I used to think, what's that all that about? After what I've found in the soil this year, it's the wisest move I've ever seen. Prevent the hatching of the bug eggs. Microwave it. That's what will be happening to me next year, even with virgin seed thrown compost. I will be putting it through the microwave. Okay guys, till next time, take care.